To Algebra 2, this is Chapter 6.8, Graphing Radical Functions. A quadratic equation has x squared, and its function is going to be a transformation of a parabola. And a parabola is the U-shaped graph that has a vertex at 0, 0. And it can be translated up, down, it could be stretched, it could be to the left or to the right, it could be flipped upside down, that sort of thing. A radical is the inverse. So if we have x squared, the inverse of x squared is the square root of x. So if this is our function, this would be our inverse. Which means that we take our parabola and it's going to get reflected across this line so that your inverse looks like this. So in your notes, there's a better picture. I can't draw very well, so here it is. This is your regular parabola, so this is of your quadratic. And notice, looks just normal. When you take the inverse of a quadratic, you get a radical function. And notice that your parabola is now sideways. Well, when we look at this graph, it does not pass the vertical line test, so it's not technically a function. We can restrict the domain of our function so that our inverse is an actual function. So again, this does not pass the vertical line test because it hits at 2 spots. But if we get rid of this bottom portion, then we just have this top portion and we no longer have a problem and it's a function. So what we have to do is restrict the domain of our original function. So again, this is our original function. This was our inverse. So we're just going to take the right side of our quadratic, which means x needs to be greater than or equal to 0, because then that means our y of our inverse is greater than or equal to 0. A radical function is the inverse of a quadratic function, and this is its graph. Other functions, our radical functions, can be translated or reflected or stretched. So your overall standard equation would be the radical with a certain index with a out in front. Sorry, I forgot that. X minus h on the inside plus k on the outside. If a is negative, it's a reflection. So I hope this is familiar. This is like the 5th time doing it. If a is greater than 1, it's a stretch. If a is between 0 and 1, it's a compression. Minus h is to the right. Plus h is to the left. Plus k is up. Minus k is down. Got it, number 1. Let's first talk about our transformation. So we have our first graph, which is y equals the square root of x plus 2. What are our transformations? Well, we have plus 2 on the outside, and that plus 2 on the outside means that our graph is going to go up 2 units. On our second equation, y equals the square root of x minus 3. We have minus 3 on the outside, which means our graph is going to go down 3 units. So remember that our x is restricted so that we don't use negatives, so we're going to start with 0. I'm going to then use 1, 4, and 9. So let's plug it into our equation. Square root of 0 is 0. Square root of 1 is 1. And remember, we're not using plus or minus. We're restricting our y so that y is greater than or equal to 0. That was one restriction of our radical graph. Square root of 4 is 2, and square root of 9 is 3. So let's graph our first one. I'll graph it in black. Our second one I'll do in red. Square root of 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. Square root of 1 is 1, plus 2 is 3. Square root of 4 is 2, plus 2 is 4. And square root of 9 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So we have 0, 2, 1, 3, 4, 2, no, wait, 4, 4, sorry, and 9, 5. So notice all of our points just got moved up 2 points. So then we know if all of our points are just moving up 2 in this one, then in our second graph, which I'm going to do in blue, they're just moving down 3. So we'll have a negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, and 0. So 0, negative 3, 1, negative 2, 4, negative 1, and 9, 0. In the second example, we have square root of x minus 3 inside of our square root, which means that this is going to go which direction? To the right. And square root of x plus 2 inside the radical is going to move our graph to the left. All right, so let's plug in some numbers. I decided to skip that first column because you already know what the graph looks like. We did it in the first example. So let me just draw it again. And here we go with the original or the parent function. So let's find our two other functions. For the first column, I picked a lot of different numbers because I want to show you a few things. So let's do our first example first. So if we plugged in 0 for x, we have 0 minus 3, which gives you a negative 3. And can you take the square root of a negative 3? No. What if we plugged in 1? We would still get the square root of negative 2, which we can't do. If we plugged in 2, we would have the square root of negative 1, which we can't do. If we plugged in 3, that's when we actually have a number we can work with, and your answer is 0. So that's the minimum point we can start for this graph. So x is equal to 3, or y is equal to 0. Oh my gosh, already it looks like it's moving to the right 3 points. Go figure. So if we plug in 4, we have 4 minus 3, which is 1. Take the square root of 1 is 1. So 4, 1. If we plug in 7, so I picked 7 for a reason, because 7 minus 3 equals 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So 7, 2. And if I would have picked what number? 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3, but it's off of our chart. So I'm just going to do that kind of number. All right, so let's do x plus 2. So if we plug in 0, we have square root of 0 plus 2, which is the square root of 2. I don't like that number because it's not one we can graph very easily. Square root of 3 isn't one we can graph. But if we did 2 plus 2 is the square root of 4, which equals 2. So if we plugged in 2, and then our y is equal to 2. Okay, next one that we should plug in would possibly be 7. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So 7, 3. How far back into the negatives could I have gone? Well, we want to get to where it's equal to 0, so x could have been a negative 2. Negative plus 2 is the square root of 0. So if we would have went to negative 2, right here we have 0. So now we have our few points here that we can graph. Oh, and -1 as well. But it gave us 1. Okay, so if you look at the starting points of all these graphs, the red one was translated to the left 3, the blue one, oh, I mean the right 3, and the blue one was translated to the left 2. Number 3, we want to graph this whole thing. So we have multiple transformations going on. You're going to start with the square root first. So what do we want to plug in for x that'll give us good numbers to work with? All right, so we're going to plug in, let's do a -2, -1, 2, and 7. So -2, if we plugged it in for x, would give us the square root of 0. In the next column, we're going to do our multiplication first. So 0 times 3, which is 0, minus 4 equals a -4. So we have -2, -4 as our first point. Second one, plug in -1 into your square root. That's square root of 1, so that's 1. 3 times 1 equals 3, minus 4 is a -1. So we have -1, -1. Plug in 2. So we have the square root of 4, which is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. So we have 2, 2. And last one, 7 plus 2 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Minus 4 is 5. So we have 7, 5. Connect the dots. So it does. It looks like it was stretched out quite a bit and translated to the left 2 and down -4. In the next example, you're going to need your graphing calculator. We want to model the population of Corpus Christi, Texas, between 1970 and 2005. It already gives us an equation. We want to use that model to see what year the population will equal 250,000. So get your graphing calculator and go to y equals and plug in the equation into y1. In y2, we're going to put the population that we're looking for. So the population that we're looking for is 250,000. So we're going to plug that into our y2, 250,000. Change your window so that we can actually see this. So go to window. Let's make our x maximum 100. Actually, just kidding. Get your window to look like mine, where your x maximum is 3,000. You're counting by 100. Your y maximum is 300,000, and you're counting by 1,000. So then if you press graph, you should have a graph that looks funky like this one. You want to know when they intersect. So you're going to go to second, trace. Where they intersect is going to be the year that your population curve matches the population that you're looking for. So it asks for the first one. I got a x close to our intersection. It asks for the second one, so it jumps to the second curve or a second graph. Get a spot where it's close to the intersection. Press enter again. Press enter to guess. And it gives you x equals 1987. So that means in the year of 1987, the population was equal to 250,000. I want you to do got it number 5 on your own. First rearrange so that it's 1/2 cubic root of x minus 2 and then plus 3 on the end. So that's the equation you're going to graph. The last example is going to be in the second part of 6.8 notes.